So many people that I talk to who want to get better at calisthenics think there's some secret progression, that there's some magical workout split, or maybe they just need to go a little bit harder in order to reach their goals. As a coach for 5 years, I can tell you probably 95% of the time, guys, that is actually not true. And some of the highest ROI things or return on investment things that you can do to speed up your progress actually have almost nothing to do with training. So today, I'm gonna break down the easiest habits you can incorporate into your life that will skyrocket your calisthenics gains. If you have plateaued recently, I can almost guarantee you are not doing one of these things. And the last thing that I'm going to cover specifically actually really took my calisthenics to the next level. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. My first tip for you guys is to set super specific short to medium term goals within your training. I'm talking 4 to 6 week time frame. The reason you want to do this is because oftentimes I find so many people set these huge goals for themselves, or these goals are super vague. Maybe I just want to get good at all these skills I see on social media, or I just want to learn how to do a handstand, right? But this person has no calisthenics experience. So my recommendation is to pick a few skills for every 4 to 6 weeks to really focus on and make them specific, right? If you know anything about personal training, you know that one of the things that we want to do for our clients is to set SMART goals. So SMART goals stands for specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. So everything that I'm talking about here, right? You don't want to make these goals too vague or too far in the future that you're going to lose the motivation. If you can set goals for 4 to 6 weeks, it's really going to change how you think about your programming in that time span. My second tip is to track your workout progress. Me personally, I keep a workout log of every single workout that I do. I write down all the exercises and how I'm feeling for those exercises. That way, it gives me so much great information to coach myself, go back and see what my workouts were, how I was feeling, and how I need to adjust in the future. And this is really important, especially if you don't have a coach, because it's super hard to memorize how many reps of what exercise you did and how many exercises did you do this day and what was your workout that day. You probably have so many things going on in your life and you don't memorize the specific reps and sets for every single exercise. So being able to track, go back and analyze how much you were able to do, how you were feeling, is really, really going to help you analyze where you're at and make progress from there. So me personally, I also like to film a lot of my skill training in addition to writing down what I'm doing and how I'm feeling. So that way, not only do I have the visual feedback, but also I'm writing down my notes and also what exactly I did for that workout. This lets me self-coach myself and analyze my program much, much better and more effective than just straight up winging it, which I know a lot of people do. You want to say, oh, just follow your intuition, bro. That can work for a time, but I'm talking about optimizing your progress and making the most out of your training time. The third habit that you can start to implement is to actually take your night routine seriously. I feel like online it's so common to see the morning routine, what people do in the beginning of the day to make sure they stay productive throughout the day. But if you know anything about recovery with your training, you know that sleep is super, super important. And I find a lot of guys just don't take this as seriously as their workout. The only way you get stronger is by properly recovering from your workouts. And if you can take your night routine seriously, that's gonna make you feel so much better every single day, which is going to allow you to progress faster. So what do I mean by taking your night routine seriously? 1, making sure you get 7 to 8 hours of sleep every single day. 2, making sure you're on a consistent sleep schedule if you can. I know that's hard for people who work random hours of the day like me. You know, I'm training people sometimes early in the morning and late at night, so this is something that I am still working on. The other thing you can do is take magnesium glycinate, for example. That's gonna help you boost your recovery. It's gonna help relax your nervous system so that you're able to sleep and therefore recover better. Another thing you can do is add blue light blocking glasses, maybe 3 hours or so before you go to bed. That way, you're not gonna strain your eyes and trick your brain into thinking that it's still daytime. So yeah, this is something I'm still working on, guys, but I'm telling you, when I feel super locked in to my nighttime routine, the gains the next day just feel so much better. I wake up feeling so much more fresh, and this is definitely an overlooked part. My fourth tip is to increase your step count. So why am I talking about walking and legs when we're talking about calisthenics? The reason is simple, right? We want to be lean, okay? I used to run a lot when I was training for competitions, and I found that my body was getting a little bit too sore and it was affecting my performance. Walking is super beneficial for calisthenics athletes, and if you follow the elite guys like Dai, for example, you already know that they are taking lots and lots of steps. Those guys will take 15, 20, sometimes more than 20,000 steps a day. What I'm telling you to do is to get up to 10 to 12K steps consistently. And the reason this is gonna help is because we're just increasing our low intensity activity. So we are able to get more movement in, burn more calories, but at the same time, it's not really taking a toll on our body the way cardio or running would, for example. That way, we're able to do it consistently every single day. It's not going to affect our high intensity training from our calisthenics. And because it's so easy, it's gonna make it easier mentally and physically for you to stay consistent with that. So this isn't some magic hack. This is something over a few months, if you can stay consistent with, you're just gonna feel leaner, you're gonna feel more digested, you're gonna have more energy throughout the day, and walking, especially outside, it's just good for you, bro. So just try to incorporate that in every single day. After a few months, like I said, I think you're really gonna notice a huge difference in your calisthenics performance. Habit number 6 that you can incorporate is to take your recovery seriously. So I know that we already talked about your sleep, but now I'm talking about your stretches, your mobility exercises, and your deload. What do I mean by deload? Basically, after you work out for 4 to 5, maybe 6 weeks, really intense, you really want to make sure you give your body some time off to recover. If you're working with me one-on-one, you already know how important this is, because when we start training, I always emphasize it's really important that we schedule these in beforehand. If we don't and we just keep pushing ourselves over and over again, eventually we're going to get hurt. Think of it like this. Imagine every time you go to the gym, you add 5 pounds onto the bar. This is going to work for a time. This is going to work for a few weeks. You're going to feel good. Eventually, the progress is going to slow down. And if you really keep pushing it, eventually you're going to get hurt. So it's the same thing with calisthenics. Of course, we're trying to progressively overload and make those gains with our intense workouts. But after that 4 to 6 week period, I think it's super important to take 5 to 7 days to focus on our deload. And when we are deloading, we focus on mobility, on activation, and on active recovery work as well. So maybe instead of training really hard, we do a lighter workout with bands, and then we're also going to increase our step count by maybe going on like an extra hike or 2 throughout the week. That way we're staying lean, we're keeping that body composition, we're giving our upper body, our joints and our tendons some time to rest and recover, but we're also activating the same exact muscles that we're going to use the next week to make those gains again. So we don't completely turn off the workouts, but we dial the intensity back, but we also want to make sure that we're staying active as well. Sort of along this line, you want to make sure that you have really great body awareness. So what I mean by that is when you wake up in the morning or after your workouts, in between your workouts, you need to be really good at checking in with your body. How do certain parts of my body feel? Maybe my left wrist hurts, or maybe my right bicep is a little bit more sore than my left. This is good to take note, for example, right? Going back to that previous tip, and then incorporating that into your nightly stretch routine. So going back to that example, say that your left wrist is sore from your training, you notice it. So what I would recommend is that night and then maybe the next morning, spend a little bit of extra time stretching your left wrist. It really is that simple, but it's a skill that has to be developed by checking in over and over again. Here's the last tip or habit for you guys, and this one, like I mentioned in the beginning, really took my calisthenics game to the next level. What you want to do is incorporate low intensity conditioning movements in the beginning of your day. Not even talking about a warm up. I'm saying you want to add priming movements before your actual workout. So let me give you a real example. Say you're training planche later in the day. In the morning, once you maybe step outside, you do your walk, you get some water, you do your stretches, you want to add in scapula push-ups, for example, working on protraction, working on depression, maybe a planche lean or two. And I'm not talking a crazy workout. I'm just saying 5-ish minutes of activating those muscles you're going to use later on in the day. So this doesn't just have to be activating those muscles. Say if you have an injury that you know you're recovering from, you can also work on that as well. So for me, every single day, I am doing conditioning to 1, bulletproof my body, and 2, prime myself for my next workout. So I do maybe 3 to 4 movements, maybe 2 of them are more rehab focused and 2 are more prime focus. So simultaneously trying to get rid of injuries, but also optimize for my next workout. This can really take your gains to the next level if you are consistent, because a lot of times, for example, in planche, we have a hard time engaging that scapula protraction. If in the morning we warm up and really focus on activating those specific protraction muscles, you'll find in your workout it's so much easier to hit that clean form. And you can apply this with anything. That is just one example, but I really hope that helped you guys. That's going to be it for today's video. I hope you guys learned something. Let me know what's your favorite tip or what habit accelerated your gains the most. I would love to hear, even if I didn't mention it in this video. I'm going to try my best to reply to every single comment. I truly, truly appreciate your guys' support. If there's another topic that you want me to cover in a future video, let me know in the comments. Until next time.